cheek as he continued to rail at me about all the ways I'd failed him as a wife. I prayed Eirik would not come in and see us. I knew he would be listening. How naive I'd been, to think marrying Anders might be the start of a new life for me. But when I was sent to Finnmark by my father to hide me away with an elderly aunt, I'd been 19, pregnant, cut off from the nursing career I dreamed of having for so long, and my aunt made no effort to disguise how little she thought of me. Anders had offered me an escape from her, or so I thought. It wasn't until after my aunt died that I discovered she'd agreed to leave Anders all her money, not an inconsiderable sum, if he took me off her hands and saved my family the shame of having an unwed mother in their midst. I had been nothing more than a transaction. Anders finally ran out of insults. He flung the shirt down at my feet and stalked out of the kitchen. I slid down against the wall, my arms hugged around my knees, trembling as I listened to him storming around the house that had once been his mother's, and where he had brought me to live after we were married, a narrow, semi-detached dwelling up on the hill called the Haugen, with dark, oppressive rooms and heavy, old-fashioned furniture that took hours to clean and dust. Only once the front door had slammed behind him did I hear smaller, lighter footsteps coming down the stairs. Quickly I stood, smoothing my skirt and snatching the shirt off the floor. By the time Eirik came into the kitchen, I was at the sink, running water to wash the dishes as if nothing had happened. "Mama?" Eirik said. Although he had turned 6 2 months ago, like so many of the children in Kirkenes these days, he was small for his age. There simply wasn't enough for them to eat. Breakfast that morning had been half a piece of bread each, with a smear of unsweetened jam, and even Anders's barely concealed rage at this meagre fare could not make our food ration stretch any further. "Hello, my angel," I said, stroking Eirik's hair as he leaned against me, wrapping his arms around my waist. Neither of us spoke of Anders. The few precious hours ahead without my husband's brooding presence stretched ahead like a lifeline. "Are you ready to go next door to Tante Ingun's?" "I want to come to the shops with you, Mama," he said. "Not today," I told him. "There's too much to do. Besides, Marianne will be waiting for you." Marianne was Ingun's granddaughter, and Eirik's best friend. At the mention of her name, his face lit up. With school, such as it was, not starting again until next week, they spent a lot of time together at my neighbour's house. Ingun was a kindly widow in her 70s, and always glad to see Eirik. "Fetch my basket," I said, pointing to where it sat in the corner by the dresser, "and then you can go. Don't forget your gas mask," I called after him as, depositing the basket by my feet, he raced out into the hall. "I've got it, Mama," he called, and I heard the front door open and thump close again. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding, and quickly finished the dishes. Then I lifted my basket onto the table and, glancing behind me at the door to make sure Eirik had really left, lifted the cloth folded neatly inside. Underneath was a false bottom, and underneath that was the small bundle of messages I had collected from Mette Simonsen at the telegraph station last night. They were from the families of teachers who were being held at the camp nearby, and it was my job to deliver them. I wasn't part of the resistance, not officially. I couldn't risk being arrested and taken away from Eirik, leaving him alone with Anders. But neither could I stand by and do nothing, not when these men had invaded our town, turned our world on its head, and now walked around like they had a God-given right to the place. There were many in the town who took part in daily acts of civil disobedience, keen to defy the Germans in any small way we could, and I was among them. Some even wore paper clips on their lapels as a symbol of non-compliance, although I didn't go that far. Anders was no sympathizer, but he would have been furious with me for risking unwanted attention from the occupiers. My tiny part in resisting the Germans was a